Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take sources you send us, really dig into them, and pull out those key insights so you can get up to speed quickly.
And today we're jumping into Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. We've got some great excerpts to work with thanks to one of our listeners.
Yeah, it looks like we have a good mix bits from the foreword by Coelho himself, the prologue, part of the main story.
And even that section on international acclaim right at the start.
Exactly. And those acclaim quotes, they really set the scene, don't they, before you even get to the story itself.
They really do. You see book lists talking about wisdom about following one's heart.
Right, and then
Yeah.
you've got Madonna mentioning magic, dreams, and the treasures we seek elsewhere and then find at our doorstep.
And Anthony Robbins calls it a quest to fulfill one's destiny. It's obvious why it's resonated so much globally. These are big themes.
Absolutely. But it all starts quite simply, doesn't it? With a shepherd boy, Santiago.
Yes, in Andalusia. And he's having this recurring dream.
Okay, so let's talk about that dream. He's out in the field, sheep are around,
Standard shepherd stuff.
and then a child appears.
Yeah. And this child tells him to go to the Egyptian pyramids, says there's treasure waiting for him there.
Now, most of us might just, forget a weird dream like that. But Santiago, he takes it seriously.
He does. He goes to Tarifa to find this old woman, someone who interprets dreams. She apparently thinks dreams are like the language of God.
Interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And her interpretation.
Pretty straightforward, actually. She says, yep, you need to go to the pyramids, find that treasure.
Okay.
But there's a catch.
Her fee.
Yes, the fee. Not just a few coins, is it?
No, she wants 1/10 of the treasure if he finds it.
Right. You can imagine Santiago thinking, wait, what? Probably felt a bit, I don't know, let down.
Disappointed, yeah. A bit skeptical, maybe. He got this very literal reading plus this strained condition.
But still, that idea is planted now. Treasure, Egypt. It's in his head.
It is. And it doesn't take long for something else unusual to happen. He's in the town square and meets an old man.
An old man who seems to know, well, way too much about him.
Writing things in the sand, like his parents' names, where he went to seminary.
Even about the merchant's daughter Santiago has a bit of a crush on. It's unnerving.
Definitely. And then this man drops a bombshell. Says he's Melchizedek.
The king of Salem, no less.
And this is where we get introduced to that core concept, right? The personal legend.
Exactly. Which he describes as what you've always wanted to accomplish. Everyone has one, apparently.
But he also says people often give up on them because of some mysterious force. What do you think he means by that? Fear, comfort zones.
Could be all of those. You know, fear of failing, maybe just getting stuck in the routine, listening to people who say you can't do it, it's complicated.
Yeah.
But the king gives him this huge piece of wisdom, almost like a promise. He says, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it.
That's such a powerful line. Really sticks with you. Have you ever felt that? Like things just clicked when you were really going for something?
It's definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
He even gives an example, the baker.
Oh, right. The baker who wanted to travel but stayed put because, well, baking was safe. Predictable.
It shows how easily practicality can kind of elbow dreams aside.
Yeah. And to help Santiago, the king gives him something tangible, too.
The stones, Urim and Thummim.
To help him read the omens, like little signposts.
Little reminders to pay attention, yeah. But Santiago's first steps on this journey, they don't exactly go smoothly.
No kidding. He takes this massive leap, sells all his sheep,
Puts all his trust in this guide he meets in Tangier, someone who says he'll get him to Egypt.
and then, bam, betrayal.
In the marketplace,
Right.
the guide just vanishes with all of Santiago's money.
Oh, that's brutal. Stranded, penniless, totally alone in a foreign land.
Yeah,
You'd be tempted to just crawl home, wouldn't you?
absolutely. And he considers it, but this is a huge moment for him. Does he see himself as a victim
Well,
or something else?
when he chooses adventurer.
He reframes it, yeah.
Yeah.
He decides this setback is part of the adventure, not the end of it, which is, wow, quite a mindset shift.
So what does he do? He needs money.
He finds work with a crystal merchant in Tangier.
And the merchant, he's been doing things the same way for, like, decades, right? Very cautious.
Very. 30 years running the shop. But Santiago comes in with fresh eyes.
It's just simple things like, hey, maybe clean the glasses.
Uh-huh, yeah. And building an outdoor display case to attract people. Little things, but they make a difference.
And this is where we see that interesting contrast in how they view dreams.
Definitely. The merchant has this dream, too, going to Mecca.
But for him, it seems like it's the idea of the dream that keeps him going. more than actually wanting to do it. Does that make sense?
Totally. It's like a comforting thought he holds on to, but maybe he's afraid of actually achieving it because then what? Whereas Santiago,
Santiago's actively in it. Even though he's had this massive setback, he's still working towards his dream, his personal legend.
it's a fascinating dynamic. And we also hear about Maktub here.
It is written, that idea of fate or destiny.
Yeah. And Santiago actually becomes pretty successful working there. He earns enough money.
Enough to go back home, back to his sheep, his old life.
The safe option is right there, but he's faced with that choice again, isn't he? Comfort or the quest,
And the pull of the personal legend wins out. He decides to keep going.
which is pretty remarkable, really, that deep desire just doesn't let go.
So next stage, crossing the Sahara, he joins a caravan.
Big desert crossing. And this is where he meets the Englishman.
Ah, the Englishman obsessed with alchemy,
I know.
buried in his books.
Right. And this part highlights the dangers, too. The need for rules, obedience to the caravan leader for safety. It's a whole different world.
What does the Englishman add to Santiago's understanding?
He introduces another big concept, the soul of the world.
Okay, what's that about?
It's sort of this underlying positive force connecting everything, very similar to what the King of Salem said, actually, that when you really want something, this force helps make it happen. It's all interconnected.
So more reinforcement of that universe conspiring idea.
Pretty much. And while the Englishman reads, the caravan just keeps moving, guided by a star towards an oasis.
The oasis, and that's where Fatima happens.
Yes. A huge moment for Santiago. He sees her at the well.
And it's instant, right? He describes it as just knowing.
Knowing through the language of the world, as he puts it, he feels this immediate, profound connection, like she's the one.
Love at first sight,
Yeah.
basically. But tied into this whole mystical worldview he's developing.
Exactly. And what's amazing is her reaction when he tells her about his quest.
She doesn't try to hold him back.
And not at all. She understands. She's a woman of the desert, she
Yeah.
says. She knows men sometimes have to leave, and she says she'll wait. It's incredibly supportive.
Wow. That's real love, understanding his need to follow his personal legend.
It really is. It adds another layer to his motivation, but doesn't derail his quest.
So while they're in the oasis, he and the Englishman are looking for someone specific.
The Alchemist, the legendary figure the Englishman has been reading about.
And their first meeting is intense.
Oh, yeah. Super dramatic. This figure appears out of nowhere on a horse, all in black, falcon on his shoulder.
And he basically pulls a sword on Santiago.
Tests his courage right off the bat. A very memorable introduction.
Definitely gets your attention.
Yeah.
So this is the guy who's going to guide him next.
He is. But the alchemist tells Santiago something important. You basically already know what you need to know.
Less about teaching new things, more about unlocking what's already there.
Seems like it. And he gives him more key wisdom. Wherever your heart is, there you will find your treasure.
Connecting the inner world to the outer quest.
And also, crucially, love never keeps a man from pursuing his personal legend, echoing what Fatima understood.
Reassuring him, maybe? That loving Fatima doesn't mean abandoning the dream.
Could be. And the alchemist even shows his own connection to this language of the world, finding life in the desert where it seems impossible. He's clearly tapped into something deep.
So they travel together, the alchemist and Santiago. What does Santiago learn on this part of the journey?
A lot about listening to his heart. The alchemist really pushes him on this,
How so?
explaining that the heart, well, it has fears, it complains sometimes, but it also holds the key. You have to learn its language, understand its messages, even the fearful ones.
That sounds difficult, listening to your heart when it's scared.
It is. And the alchemist adds another really important piece here. He says that the soul of the world, that force we talked about, it tests you
Tests you. How
by throwing major challenges your way, especially right before you achieve your goal. He says that's the point where most people give up.
Just when they're closest. Oof. That's rough.
It highlights the need for perseverance, for faith, even when things get incredibly tough.
And things do get tough again, don't they? They run into trouble.
Big trouble. Hostile tribesmen capture them.
Not good.
The alchemist actually uses his skills here, offers them gold, seemingly turning lead into gold, basically, to buy Santiago's life.
Wow. So he is a literal alchemist?
It seems so. But then comes the real test. They're captured again, and the tribesmen demand proof of Santiago's power.
And the alchemist says Santiago can turn himself into the wind.
Yep. Gives him 3 days to do it, or they'll both be killed.
Okay, now that seems impossible. How do you even interpret that? Is it literal? Metaphorical?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's this fantastical moment. But maybe it's about Santiago reaching such a deep level of connection with everything around him, with the soul of the world.
That he can actually influence the elements?
Perhaps. Or it represents achieving a state of complete understanding and unity. He talks to the desert, the wind, the sun,
Trying to get them to help him?
and ultimately he appeals to the hand that wrote all. It's this moment of profound surrender and connection. He realizes everything has its own personal legend, that all things are interconnected, all things are one.
And does he do it? Does he become the wind?
The storm rises, the tribesmen are terrified, and they let them go. So in a way, yes, he achieves this incredible feat through understanding and love, not brute force.
Mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah.
So after that, they finally get close to the pyramids.
They do. The alchemist leaves him there, gives him some final words, a piece of gold. His job as a guide is done.
And Santiago is there
Mhm.
at the pyramids. The goal of his whole journey must have been overwhelming.
Totally. He's weeping, overcome with emotion, and then he sees an omen, a scarab beetle.
Which is a significant symbol in Egypt, right?
Yeah.
Rebirth, transformation.
Exactly. So he starts digging where he saw the beetle, thinking, this is it, the treasure.
Oh,
But then disaster strikes again. Some refugees from the tribal wars find him, beat him up, and steal the gold the alchemist gave him.
oh, come on. After everything.
Right. But as they're leaving, one of them mockingly tells Santiago about his own recurring dream.
Don't tell me.
A dream about treasure buried back in Spain, under a sycamore tree, at an abandoned church.
No. The exact place Santiago started his journey, where he used to sleep with his sheep.
The exact place. And suddenly, Santiago understands.
The treasure wasn't at the pyramids at all. It was back home the whole time.
The whole time. The entire journey, all the trials, the learning, the love, it was all necessary for him to understand where the real physical treasure was,
Right.
and maybe to gain the other treasures along the way.
Wow. So he had to go all the way there to realize he needed to go back. That's quite the loop.
It's incredibly symbolic, isn't it? The treasure is often right where you started, but you need the journey to be able to see it, to value it.
So the story ends with him heading back.
Well, he digs up the treasure, the chest of coins and jewels, and his plan is to go back to Tarifa first, give the old woman her 10th, as promised,
Fulfilling his word.
and then the wind blows, the levanter,
Carrying the scent of Philema.
and the feeling of a kiss, a promise of reunion. He found the gold, but he also found love and self-understanding.
What a journey. Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive into The Alchemist, what are the big takeaways for you?
Well, first, obviously the importance of chasing your dreams, your personal legend. Don't ignore that inner calling.
Right. And trusting the signs, the omens, listening to your heart, even when it's hard.
Definitely. Then there's that whole idea of interconnectedness, the soul of the world, the universe conspiring to help, believing that you're not alone on your path.
Yeah, that's a comforting thought.
And maybe the biggest one is that the real treasure, it might not be what you expect or where you expect it. The journey itself, the person you become, the love you find that's invaluable.
It really does make you think about your own life, doesn't it? Those detours or setbacks that actually taught you something crucial, maybe pointed you towards your own version of a personal legend.
Exactly. It encourages that kind of reflection.
So maybe a final thought to leave everyone with.
How about this? Think about the treasures in your own life. Are they waiting at the end of some far-off quest? Or could they be hidden in plain sight, maybe in familiar places or relationships, just waiting for you to see them with new eyes, eyes that have perhaps been changed by your own journeys?